Good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Good evening.
Let's allow 2 more minutes. I'm not sure who else is going to join. And I got to let my dogs in. Agenda at the same time.
I can bring up, I'll just share my screen, which has
Okay.
it, although it won't stay, but. How's that?
Yep, that works. I can pull it up on another tab anyway. But yeah, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Looks like we have a quorum. We have 4, at least, maybe 5.
5, and I think Andy will come when he can.
Okay. All right, so we are good. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everybody got a copy of the minutes? Can we hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Give me a second.
Second. Yeah.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Any questions, anything that needs to be changed? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Minutes are approved for the August meeting. And we'll move to budget report.
This is the PowerPoint that I have, but I do not have plans of sharing that. I'm not sure if Jennifer or Shannon or anybody was going to do that.
Okay. Any
Sean, I'm on there. This is just a normal monthly budget. The only big difference this month is the rollover funds have been deposited in HHW account. You can see it under contractual services. Karen, can you go to the next screen? So this is our monthly recurring fees that we have to take care of for advertising, printing supplies, cell phone services, things of that nature. Nothing major has changed, and nothing that required the board to approve.
Yeah, see, the largest two are field trip, which was pre-approved, and Veolia, which that's
Pre-approved.
pretty common expense. So no anomalies here.
No, sir.
Okay. Do you hear a motion to approve the budget report as presented?
So moved.
Second. A second. Second by Carl. Any questions, any issues with the budget? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, budget report is approved. Thank you. Let's move forward to, we don't have any correspondence to the board. Action items, we've got recycle coach languages.
Okay, so we have Recycle Coach as our app, and we're up to date. That's been approved for this year and everything. But I did find out more about languages, like the ability. Right now, it is just in English. We do not have the option for residents to change the language like we do. Like the louisvilleky.gov website has a thing at the top where you can change the language. So I requested information about that service with Recycle Coach, and there we go. So they charge $400 per year, because it's like we pay for the service for the year, for each additional language. And I have often thought that we should have it translated or translatable, at least in Spanish. That's kind of how we do like print material. Our goal is to have everything in at least English and Spanish. And then sometimes with print materials, we have the option, when we're asked, we have things translated to be able to give to residents as needed. But this list here are the languages that Recycle Coach has available. And so I would like to at least add Spanish if the board would approve the additional dollars. And then I highlighted the other languages that are offered that are considered top languages spoken in Louisville. So I don't know. I mean, if any of them would be great, but I at least feel like we should have Spanish. And then they will, since we've already, I think our contract is usually starts in May. So whatever the price is, it's prorated for the rest of the year. And then it would just be $400 the next time for each language that we choose.
Comments from the board?
Mr. Chair, this is Kevin Gibbon. I move that we add the American Spanish to the language data at $400 per year. That will be prorated for the year of 2025.
All right. We have a motion. Now, since we only have a few months left to the year, and we work off fiscal year, do we need to approve the rest of the fiscal year? Or is it simply based on calendar year?
Well, I think in this case, since we've already paid for a full year, but the contract, because of when we first started it really comes up in May to renew for the year. So we would have done that just 4 months ago, I guess 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay.
So I don't think I think it'll be an added charge that you would see in the next budget that would just cover through what we've paid for, which would be like through May. And then beyond that, you would see it as an additional charge for $400 the next time that it comes up.
Mr.
Got
Chair, I amend my
Understood. We have
motion.
Yep.
I'm going to amend my motion that it not be through December 25. It actually goes through the end of this contract, which would be in May of 26.
Understood. So a motion on the floor to approve Spanish, American Spanish as an additional language on the Recycle Coach tool site or app. And do we hear a second for that motion?
I second it.
Second by Deetra. Thank you. Any discussion?
I would like to suggest that we consider or at least talk more about including all of the ones that Karen has highlighted here. I think the cost seems relatively minimal to me for what would be a really valuable resource for a lot more people in our community. It would make it a lot more accessible. And I'll also just throw out there that I think a lot of people in our community who speak Swahili or Kinyarwanda might also speak French. And so that might be a way to reach some of those folks or get the word out in those communities.
Yes. Now, I'm sure that we have some data, some usage data, and it would be nice to understand who is using it, so that we can provide the most value to users or to likely users. We do have a motion and a second on the floor to approve Spanish. Do we have any additional questions or feedback? All right, so let's move forward with a vote for approving Spanish. And then if,
Sean, Nicole George put her hand up.
oh, I didn't see that. Nicole?
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question. So for areas in our community where we know we have a lot of violations, where maybe more education is needed, and we see repeated instances of inappropriate set out or opportunities where things are being missed, do we know what languages are spoken predominantly in some of those areas?
It's a valuable question. Karen, do you have any data or any feedback for that?
I only really have anecdotal data from places that we have been. As you know, so I've definitely had Vietnamese, and as Alex mentioned, I've met people that speak Kinyarwanda or Swahili, but you know, even the Haitian, I can't remember if it was Haitian Creole or if it was Haitian French that we came across when we visited a house. Nepalese, you know, some languages we've come across before that aren't even on the list, but as far as, that's why I kind of searched trying to see, you know, which languages were most predominant, just in general. We do have, we're starting a partnership with Catholic Charities to try to get in front of some community members that have classes there, so that we can kind of make a stronger effort to reach those languages and community members. But I don't know that I can answer Deputy Mayor George's question exactly. Just
Understood. Yeah, I think that's valuable data that we could collect. You know, there are organizations, not just Catholic Charities. There's, you know, C4 is an organization that has a lot of African-born immigrants, and you know, there's a number of other organizations. So you know, maybe it's worthwhile to try to do a little bit of digging, and we can approve Spanish as an additional language, and then see what others we can add that are going to add some value. Vietnamese is going to be fairly common, especially like South End. There's a pretty sizable Vietnamese population there. So I think there are some additional considerations. But you know, the question is, of the people who are using Recycle Coach, which right now I think the vast majority is probably Urban Services District. Where can we get some additional value for the users? So we do have a motion and a second on the floor. Do we have any other questions or feedback about this particular topic and approving American Spanish? And thank you, Deputy Mayor George. Okay. All in favor of approving American Spanish as an additional language for Recycle Coach, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. American Spanish is approved as an additional language for Recycle Coach. I do agree that we have an opportunity to dig in on some of the additional languages that can add value. Do we want to do that maybe over the next like month or so, or what are the thoughts here?
our education team can look at that in more detail as we have our partnerships with Catholic Charities specifically. And I also I hadn't thought to ask Recycle Coach about their data, their usage data that they can provide. So I will also ask about that just so we know if it's possible to know how much it's being used, and maybe ask if they would run a pilot to see if we you know, can see usage before we commit to it.
Sure. And you know, the point was made earlier that $400 per additional language really isn't an exorbitant cost if we're adding you know, a couple or a few on top of this. So I don't think it's unreasonable if we can add value to users by expanding language functionality. All right. Anything else on the additional languages? Okay, let's move forward to Waste District grant recipients.
All right, also me. So I have a couple slides just as reminders, because when we, you know, we pushed this out several months ago. So the guidelines and information that was pushed out that's on our website and was given to anyone who was interested in this grant. These are some of the main points, was that what the purpose was, that it's aligning with the district's mission and specific actions, aim to promote sustainable waste management practices, reducing waste generation, enhancing recycling and composting efforts. And then the budget that was approved was that we had a total amount of grant funding of $50,000, but applicants could request as little as $5,000. And then the guidelines also explained how the grant applications would be evaluated. And these were the 3 categories and their weighted percentage. So their project narrative and their strategy was the highest at 40%. Their community impact, sustainability, and partnerships was 35%. And the organization's experience, financial information, and evaluation of the project was 25%. And so we had a scoring rubric that each reviewer could use as they were evaluating. And each of those 3 sections received a score of 1 to 5. And then, of course, the score was weighted accordingly to give the entire application a score by each reviewer. And then we had 5 reviewers, and those all scores were averaged. So that is how we came up with the application's final score. And there were 6 total applications. And I have the top 3 to share here. Our number 1 highest scoring application was for Feed Louisville. And the title of theirs was the No Waste, No Hunger campaign. And they requested $5,000. So they did request the minimum amount. And I just put their, I have all of the applications available if you all want to see the entire thing, but I just put their general, their first description of their project. So Feed Louisville is doing an educational outreach and fundraising campaign. And so they were requesting funding to go toward that. And so that was the $5,000. And that was our highest scoring of 4.38 was the average for all of the scores. The second one, the average score that it received was 4.055, and it was from an organization called the Louisville Tool Library. Their project was called Scaling Up Reuse Waste Diversion Initiative. A little bit long, their funding request was $24,500. And this is kind of their project description here. Most of their funding was to get more tools for the tool library and also some outreach supplies. So they had a strong project for directly reducing waste generation by having this nonprofit that allows people to borrow lots of things, not just tools really, but lots of different things instead of buying. And so again, they didn't request all 50,000 either. So theirs was 24,500. And the third project, third place, as far as our scoring, average scores, this was a 3.974. They had requested $41,333.60. And this business is a kind of a new business, a young business of called Goldenrod Compost Company. And they are hoping to scale up their diversion for collecting compost. And actually, they have their compost site as well. So, sorry, I know it's kind of a long description there. And then, like I said, I have all of the projects, the entire application. And so they're hoping to get more commercial clients and pilot a community drop-off and also purchase equipment for composting, for scaling up their composting service or operation so that it's a bit faster and more efficient. However, okay, so they did also on this application provide a contingency plan if they did not receive all the funding requested. So that I thought was important for the possible options we have. And that is, you know, I'm happy to answer more questions, and several of our reviewers are on the call as well. So anybody can chime in, but there it is.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I just put up these options that, because I think based on the scores, our reviewers liked all the top three projects. Obviously, all of their funding requested added up to more than $50,000. It added up to $70,833.60. So, so I just went ahead and put that out there. That's how much it would cost if we wanted to award all three of the projects. Another option would be to fund all three of them, except Goldenrod Compost would be partially funded because of them getting, and then the total would be 50,000. Or we could just fund award this to the top two projects, which was Feed Louisville and the Louisville Tool Library, which would be 29,500 of the money for this year's grant. And then also, obviously there is also the option of just choosing the project that got the highest score for $5,000 for the Feed Louisville No Waste, No Hunger.
Did the reviewers and the advisory committee have a recommendation between those, or a strong feeling one direction or the other? I mean, I know you said they liked all three applicants, but.
Mm-hmm. So our review committee was actually Carl, who is on the board, was on that committee. Bob Schindler, who's on the advisory committee, and then Shannon Logan, solid waste director, and Rachel Young, our education supervisor, and myself. So the advisory committee,
Jerry McGraw, I see that I missed a call from you a couple of hours ago.
Oh, he don't know he's not on mute.
Jerry's mic is on. There
There
he
he
is.
is. There you go.
So so the full advisory committee was not reviewing this, and the subcommittee is basically requesting this. The feedback from our subcommittee members varied a little bit, whereas like a few of us kind of liked the idea of why not shoot for the moon and ask for all 3 projects to be funded because they were really good. And then also one of our, let's see, Bob, I guess, was a little more hesitant on, or he had some clarifying questions for the Louisville Tool Library, and we did reach back out and get some answers on that. It was just kind of about how they calculate their waste diversion.
Okay.
But ultimately, I think that we all just kind of agreed that the scores were going to be the more of a deciding factor from our, because that's
Sure.
kind of how we all had our opinions on each project. I think Carl, which Carl's here, had mentioned about waste diversion and numbers, but I felt like the goal of the grant wasn't necessarily to be scored purely on like how much tonnage is being diverted, that kind of thing. So, you know, even if we didn't necessarily, you know, that was a weighed in some cases through the narrative and all of the scoring rubric, but I didn't think that should really be the deciding factor.
Yeah. You mentioned a contingency plan for, you know, for goldenrod.
Yes.
I mean, was there any, you know, thought from the subcommittee on how viable the contingency plan was, or whether that still seemed like something we should be interested in partially funding?
They basically would have to, I guess, forego some of their composting equipment so that their process wasn't quite as fast. And so it just basically meant they had to scale up their project or their business, having partial funding, they would basically do the same thing. It just wouldn't be as, I guess, as strong of a scaling up as they had hoped. But no one really on our subcommittee had major problems with, you know, no major opinions about whether that was good or bad, I guess.
Okay.
Evan.
I would say, you know, just to weigh in, obviously if we partially fund goldenrod at basically $15,500, I think is what it would end up being out of the 41,000 I think that they requested. You know, we're funding a little bit over a third of what they requested. I would, for this first grant cycle, probably defer to the $50,000 amount that we've previously set aside. You know, that's my opinion, to kind of see the impact that the $50,000 investment is going to have. And then if we're comparing, you know, year over year, but we have different numbers every year, it's going to be slightly difficult to try to quantify an ROI, if that's a goal. Thoughts from the rest of the board?
I mean, I think I would personally agree with that. I think we set a $50,000 limit for this first cycle to really test out this process, and I think it would be difficult, I think, for us to immediately go over that by almost 50%, especially since the project that would be pushing us that far over would be the third ranked project.
Agreed.
So I mean, I would be comfortable with either of option 2 or option 3. I think if the subcommittee thinks that there's value in the goldenrod proposal, that I would probably prefer option 2.
It does come out to be, I think 20,500, and that was I have the application pulled up, but because of my one screen, it's hard to find it. But I know that their contingency plan, the request had kind of cut their own request in about half, which is about $20,000. So, so I remember when I was looking at it, it did look like what we would have left over would at least fund their possible, you know, plan B. Kevin, did you
Oh.
have your hand up?
Yeah, okay. I guess I'm not either I'm listening slow or just not understanding. Contingency plans to me from the consulting world is that I'm gonna ask for money from you, and if I can't get all the money from you, I'm gonna get the money from somewhere else. You're telling me that their contingency plan is just take what we give them and just make do with what we got. That's not a contingency plan to me. Did I miss something in the in the proposal, or what did I miss?
Well, I think it's just one of the options, one of the funding options or the award options. So basically, if we're awarding the top two scores, or we're prioritizing the top two scores, which would be 29,500. I was double counting Feed Louisville initially. Then that would leave 20,500. So half, roughly, of the requested amount from Goldenrod. I mean, I think it would be worthwhile to, if we were going to pursue option 2 as a partial award for the requested amount of 41,000, roughly, maybe to reach out to Goldenrod and get some kind of confirmation from them that they would still see, you know, great value and benefit, and that they would still be able to provide the same reporting that we are asking them for.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume it would just be a smaller scale, but yeah, I think it would be beneficial for us to confirm that.
Kevin,
Yeah,
there was a question that in the submittal that basically said, if you didn't get the support from this grant, like what would the outcome be? Or if you didn't get all the money from that you requested, what would be more or less your contingency? What would you do then? So I think that was their response was in light of that.
So they would just cut it back and not even try to go get the balance from somewhere else.
I don't think that was.
Imagine they're just speaking to what they could do with the dollars we're giving them, rather than saying they would completely change their goal.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I would understand that, I think, but without having read it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have it pulled up and I can stop sharing my screen and I can look at it. If Rachel or anyone else that can get into our shared drive, it is there, but I know, Kevin, I don't believe that they aren't looking for funding elsewhere at all. I don't think we are all, you know, it's just us, but they will have to report how they use their funding. So as part of that application, they did say very clearly, if they don't get all of the money, one plan, this is how they would change what they plan to purchase and how it would affect the project. And it had to do with equipment, or maybe buying.
That's helpful.
Sure, Rachel, if you have something that you can.
Sure. So the question in the grant application is, if only part of the funding you have requested is provided, how would your organization adapt? And they answer contingency plan number 1. If partial funding is awarded, Goldenrod Compost Company will prioritize acquiring both the box truck and the compost windrow turner, since they are complementary pieces of equipment necessary to balance collection and processing capacity. If the full costs of both cannot be covered through grant funds, Goldenrod will scale purchases accordingly, selecting a more affordable vehicle model if necessary, while still ensuring that both collection and processing infrastructure are strengthened during the grant period. While Goldenrod's preference is debt-free growth, Goldenrod is prepared to secure supplemental financing through a small business loan, lease arrangement, or other local financing option if needed to close the gap. This ensures the project will move forward without delay, making the most effective use of grant funds to expand local compost infrastructure. Among community outreach and education activities, recruitment and education of commercial clients will be prioritized over residential education and creation of a pilot hub. Educating commercial clients will lay the groundwork for future community programs once additional resources become available. And then contingency plan number 2 is if significantly less funding is awarded, Goldenrod will prioritize acquiring the box truck to ensure expanded collection capacity and meet core diversion targets. The box truck is essential for serving additional commercial clients, increasing route density, and reliably transporting food waste. Compost production will continue using existing equipment for turning and aeration. While less efficient than a dedicated compost windrow turner, this approach will still allow Goldenrod to process the incoming material safely and produce a marketable compost product, albeit with longer processing times and increased labor. So I read that as they requested 2 pieces of equipment. If they get enough funding, then they can choose a lower cost option for those pieces of equipment and or get a lease or a loan. Or if they don't get nearly enough, then they would just buy the box truck instead of the box truck and the windrow turner.
So my question, 2 of them. One would be, what do they mean by significantly less funding? I'm not sure what that means. Is that 5,000, 10,000, 20,000? I mean, we're talking about 20,000 less. And then the other thing, they said they could secure an SBA loan so that they didn't experience any delays, but loan processes are pretty lengthy, and there's never a guarantee for that. So that would almost make me kind of lean toward option 3. But I would entertain option 2 if we can reach out and get confirmation from Goldenrod that they'll still be able to achieve their objectives and make an impact with that basically 50% award amount.
And
Karen, what is your ask today of us to award options 1, 2, or 3 today, or 1, 2, 3, or 4 today? That your ask?
I would love that.
Okay.
I would love
Okay.
that just because I know, a month goes by before we meet again.
Right.
And so, but I understand if it's possible to word our, what we're to do in such a way that we get information, more information from Goldenrod before that, we can do that if you all task us to do that.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion. I'm going to make a motion that we go with award option number 3. Fund the top 2 projects, Feed Louisville and Louisville 2 Library for $29,500 as is. That is my motion.
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Gibson. Do we hear a second for that motion of award option 2 or 3? Sorry, award option 3. I'm sorry, Deetra, I heard something, but I didn't hear if you were seconding.
No, I was just considering, I would like for Goldenrod to get something. So I'm still, no, I didn't second.
I would too. I think it seems important to offer them the opportunity to clarify before we rule out their proposal. Like if we said we're going to spend this funding to do something meaningful and have an impact in the community, and they're saying they can do that, let's clarify, in my opinion, before we rule them out.
After going through the proposals, I felt like they appropriately responded to the questions that were asked. And one is what they would do if they could get whatever up to the full amount. They clarified that, but it also asked how would they proceed if they didn't get, and they responded to both of those. But neither in none of the responses did they say it was the only source, or that they wouldn't and they had a way to proceed regardless whether they got all of it or part of it. So they did have a plan, like whether they got initial funding from anywhere else or not, they had a strategic plan how they would move forward. So they would scale the project back, but they would also try to then go back to work with what they had, but then they would also go back and look to seek to get other funding through other means, because their goal was still to grow their program and their project, which kind of makes sense to me. All businesses do that. You have to, be realistic and deal with what you have, but you also have strategic plans to how to move forward with whether you get everything you want or you have to kind of stir step it to do for that. So I'm kind of confused what the issue is with Goldenrod's strategy and plan. Is pretty straightforward. Obviously, if you give them everything they want, they know exactly. If you give them less, then they would adjust accordingly. It's not changing what they're going to do. It's just, but we asked them to tell what they would do with what we would give them, and so they answered that. So my recommendation would be for number 2.
Okay. Hearing no second on the motion for award option 3, that motion does not move forward. Do we hear a different motion?
I make a motion that we move forward on the number 2.
Second.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay. Since this is an award amount totaling $50,000, we'll do a roll call vote for that. So I think I have everybody pulled up on my screen appropriately. I'll call on you and vote yay or nay. Deetra?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Kevin?
No.
Andy?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Okay. It looks, well, I guess my vote would be a no, but it's going to pass either way. So the motion does pass for award option 2 of a funding of the Louisville Tool Library in Fee Louisville at the fully requested amount, as well as a partial award amount for Goldenrod Compost.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like we do not have any new business. So let's move to the 2025 anti-litter campaign update.
Yeah, so I just wanted, as you know, we have field trip as our outreach campaigns and digital campaigns throughout the year now, starting this year, which has been great. We have meetings with Michelle from Field Trip every other week, and she provides like a board update for each month. And we didn't really give one last month when we met, had a special meeting in August. So, so I just wanted to make sure we shared a little bit with you all. So this anti-litter campaign, everything that they've done for us this year kind of all fell under the same umbrella campaign, which was this NOPE tagline, really. So bringing all specialty waste disposal messages under one umbrella campaign elevates the reach and impact of all waste management campaigns. And so we had the first phase of the campaign ran from April through July. And I do have reports if anyone is interested in the tech data from these reports, but I didn't bring them in this presentation for tonight, but I'm happy to just email them along for those that are interested. And so we had some good placement and you know, impressions and everything for this. So, and this is just an example of what you may have seen, or I don't know if you saw it, but residents of Louisville may have seen for display ads on online. And then the solid waste management services actually did an add-on to this campaign. So, so it was funded by Metro, but it piggybacked on the district's campaign for the NOPE tagline there. So, with the goal of raising awareness with residents regarding their services within the district. Messages focused on scheduling large item appointments, not illegally dumping, ensuring proper cart storage, not overstuffing a cart, and signing up for recycling services. So there's a couple of examples, and some of these have also been placed on Metro trucks as moving billboards. We have a the anti-litter campaign. Oh, sorry. Hi, Kevin. Do you have a question?
No, we're good. No, it's
Okay,
it's a praise comment actually.
Oh, okay.
We recently, well, MSD recently hosted a 5 cities conference with delegates from St. Louis, Northern Kentucky, Columbus, Indianapolis, and it was a wastewater conference at the Omni, and some of the delegates actually saw the billboards on the outside of was it KICC? Is that what it's called? What's the new name of it? Yeah.
I don't know. Convention Center. Yeah.
Yeah, Convention Center. And they saw that and were very, very impressed on the for one, the way it looked, and it was very professionally done. And I wanted to tell you guys that they were from other cities telling us that's a great campaign, and they may take some of that stuff back home with them. So, wanted to give you kudos, you and your team, that we've got some outside folk that are very impressed with what you guys are doing, not us, what you're doing with those campaigns. So, I wanted to pass that along.
Thank you very much, and I will pass that along to Field Trip as well. So we're in progress still with our the kind of major anti-litter campaign. Also, you know, continuing to use the NOPE tagline there, but with messages that relate to litter specifically. And so as always, they just kind of optimize everything as it goes along. And that's what some of our every other week meetings, she'll give us some feedback about adjustments that might be made. But everything's going well. And then we also had a campaign in August utilizing the NOPE theme, but focusing on specifically batteries and household hazardous waste. So, so that on Nextdoor as well, which that was the first time we had tried the what do you call it? Ads, paid ads or whatever on through Nextdoor. So that's that. And then upcoming efforts, we do have, it's already started really, is a fall campaign focusing on some fall leaves and yard cleanup, block the street, things like that, bagging yard, not bagging in plastic bags specifically, but in yard waste correctly. And then there will be some recycling messages coming as well that relate more to holiday themed. So we haven't really seen, we've talked about the direction they want to go with those, but we haven't gotten those creatives yet to approve. And then something else they'll do in December. So yes, Kevin.
Just as a personal note from MSD,
Mhm.
please do not blow your leaves into the catch basins.
Yes.
Please do not blow your leaves into the catch basins.
Thank
Blow
you.
them back in your yard. Take a lawnmower, mulch them, let them go back fertilizer. Do not blow them into the catch basins, please.
We do agree on that, on that message. Yes, thank you. All right, and I think, yeah, that was the last of my campaign updates.
All right. Anybody have any feedback about the campaign?
I just want to say, I want to thank you for the leaves, because my pet peeve is leaves and grass in the street, because my brothers are bikers, and I have a lot of friends that rides bicycles through the street. And it helps, I mean, the grass and the leaves in the street is very dangerous for them. So I love these campaigns where it says no leaves or no grass in the street.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a hazard. All right. Thank you, Deetra. Thank you, Karen, for presenting that. Advisory committee report. So last meeting, we sent the cost of services study. I think we got it about a handful of days prior to our meeting, and we needed to have our wonderful advisory committee delve into it.
And delve they have, but they did not
Good.
finish. So I don't know if Bruce Burrow got on here tonight. I didn't see him when we first started. But the advisory committee did meet last week, and Ref Tellis sent Morgan as their representative to present the study and go ahead and give answers to questions or comments on any feedback that they had received, but we didn't get through all of it. So we don't have the cost of services brought back to the board at this point. And we will be meeting next month to continue that conversation. And basically Morgan can finish her presentation that she had not quite gotten through. And the goal at that meeting would be to have discussion to know what to bring back to you guys next month.
Understood. Side note that our next meeting is supposed to be, so the next advisory committee meeting should be the 15th of November, meaning that
Yes.
the 109 board meeting should be the 22nd, which is, of course, a week that is probably going to be a little bit difficult for people. So I do want to just kind of make people aware of that as being a potential obstacle. So two questions. One, do we feel confident that we'll get through the rest of this portion of the analysis in the next advisory committee meeting? And then, second question is maybe I don't think it's a rhetorical question. The report itself, once the questions have been asked and answered, and the advisory committee has done all the digging that they need to do. What's the goal of the report? Is the goal of the report to get the 109 board to the point of signing off on it, approving the report, or suggesting something about the report? Like, what would the goal be? Or do you know that?
Mr. Chair, I believe the goal of the committee's action will be to vote on whether or not the product met the objective of the 109 board. And then we will kick it back to you or whatever actions you feel need to be taken. And we did have a very productive meeting. We ran out of time on the explanation or answers to questions. We've not really got into any debate mode yet. And I would expect, this next meeting we'll get into that area. You're all welcome to join. It'll be on the 15th. But I think it's going to be, good, lively discussion and a lot of good viewpoints. I will say Miss McCarthy is, I was very impressed with her abilities to get answers back to us in a very timely manner. I want to thank her for that.
Okay. So it sounds like we can entertain a motion to table the cost of services study discussion until our November meeting.
Mr. Chair, this is Kevin Gibson. I make that motion that we table the cost of services study discussion until our November meeting, skipping the October meeting, because I want the advisory committee to have enough time to get their discussion done, their answers answered, and to bring us a recommendation that they feel comfortable with. So my motion is to put it off, not for October, but actually bring it back to us in November.
And that sounds reasonable. I mean, it sounds like if they haven't even gotten into debate mode yet, it seems like there's quite a bit of discussion left to do.
I would like to mention, if you don't mind, that in November, we typically have an issue with advisory committee and board meeting dates because the board is always the day before Thanksgiving. So I think last year we combined the dates to the week, so basically the third week of November rather than the fourth. So I don't know if you want to consider that now, and we can go ahead and put it
I
on
think
the
that might
schedule.
actually make it easier, right? And if we're going to get a report back from the advisory committee, having a joint meeting might actually be.
Yeah, that actually make it easier. Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Okay. So it would still be the November. It would still be the November meeting.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, just probably a week ahead of where we're usually scheduled.
Yes. That's my motion, Mr. Chair.
All right. So we have a motion on the floor to table this discussion until the November 109 board meeting, which we will likely combine into the advisory committee meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Carl. Any discussion, questions, feedback?
I have one, just a side note. At that meeting, we can probably talk about it in October, but at that meeting, we might want to have Restellis just there, just in case there's a stray question or two that didn't get answered before then. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
I can invite Morgan.
Yes, okay.
That's a great idea. All right, motion on the floor and a second to table the cost of services discussion until the November meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion is approved. Cost of services discussion is tabled until November. All right, next, staff report.
I just have one update. This is Sydney. She's been on the call, but she's here listening in. But she is our full-time AmeriCorps member through the Environmental Education Leadership Corps. And you all are helping with that. If you recall approving that, we actually had requested 2 full-time members. As much as they expected. So we ended up with enough, or we ended up being offered one full-time member instead. So just letting you all know, you had approved the cost of 2, but the total cost will end up just being that $8,925 for the full-time. So we are already just thrilled to have Sydney with us, and we'll keep sharing different education updates as we go along, and she'll be with us for 1 year.
Awesome.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome, Sydney. Okay. Well, we are on to announcements. The next advisory committee meeting is October 15th. October 15th at 4:30 at 701 West Ormsby.
That's the Edison Center.
Mm-hmm.
And would you all, sorry, I know Sean mentioned October 22nd, maybe having some conflicts. Are you all expecting to have us to continue to have a board meeting that day?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking November. I was thinking the November meeting.
Yeah, he was thinking November. He's way ahead.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes more sense now. Thank you.
Yeah. No, we're good. Sorry about that. Sorry for the confusion.
Okay.
109 board meeting, Wednesday, October 22nd, 5:30. Do we have a venue for that?
Will they be over there too, or
I
your
have it.
place?
I have it tentatively reserved at the Edison Center again.
Okay.
Meaning, you know, if everyone's ready to meet in person, we can do that. We can do that there. If we're just still waiting on our own building to be finished with the construction.
Yeah, I like the in person better.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Likewise. Okay. Those are the announcements. Do we have any other business or any comments from our attendees? Okay. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
I'll also move.
All right. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Nice quick meeting.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.